The cinema of Jean Rollin isn't really for everyone. It's an acquired taste, and a casual film viewer will not even have heard this filmmaker's name and is unlikely to have seen any of his films. However, there is a small dedicated international group of film buffs who champion Jean Rollin's work, and I'm in this video going to talk about The Nude Vampire from 1970. This is Rollin's second feature film and his first one in color. So Rollin, in his 5 decades as a filmmaker, has made 5 films with the vampire in the title, and there is also a film with Dracula in the title. And from these 5, I think The Nude Vampire is probably my favorite, because although vampires are present, they are more of a nominal element, and in reality this film deals more with even science fiction and adventure aesthetic, and not so much with the traditional vampire lore. So not a lot of Catholic imagery, not a lot of crucifixes or garlic. It's a film that breathes Jean Rollin in through each and every pore. There are not so many moments where logic is strong, but atmosphere reigns supreme. So I'm not going to go into the plot too much. Films like The Nude Vampire, their strength is in their stylistic audacity, not their storytelling. The film actually takes about 10 minutes to get to the first line of spoken dialogue, by which time we have seen this opening, slightly oppressive, somewhat static and puzzling scene in which it's some kind of a lab, makeshift lab, where we see figures with bags over their heads. These are like maybe medics, and there is a woman, a young woman, also with a bag over her head, and she allows the medics to draw blood from her with a syringe, and then we are suddenly, via some stylish cinematography, we're transposed to the nocturnal streets of Paris, and there is another young woman. We don't know if that's the same one we saw in the previous sequence or not, and she's being pursued by these men wearing skin-tight black outfits and large animal masks over their heads, and the young woman is basically only wearing like a see-through nightgown, similarly to the outfits we've seen in Lips of Blood and Fascination. So she's backing away until she bumps into this young man, and there is a moment of they share a moment of silent communication. So there are close-ups of them as if they are exchanging, yet there are no spoken words, and their faces remain inscrutable, if not expressionless. So it's a difficult moment to decode. However, I presume they have they have established a bond, because they choose to continue escaping together until they are backed into a corner by their pursuers upon a bridge, and things just get more bizarre from there. There is a suicide cult, moments of pseudoscience and rituals, some exotic dancing. So The Nude Vampire keeps alternating between somewhat stagey exposition scenes, where acting is somewhat on the stilted and maybe theatrical side, and then there are those sublime, nearly wordless scenes where atmosphere and visuals reign supreme. And this is where Jean Rollin's talent for color, light and shadow really is in full display. Considering it's just his second feature, is a fully fledged work of a very one-of-a-kind artist, with deliberate rejection of any kind of realism, either in representation or psychological depth or motivation in acting. And instead, we as the viewer are invited to embrace this illogical but fascinating universe conjured up by Jean Rollin, with many callbacks to early adventure serials, and also the work of abstract and surrealist artists. Now, clearly this isn't a film for everyone, and I think people expecting a more traditional vampire film, there isn't a lot of Catholic imagery, there are not crucifixes or garlic. It's much more of an adventure film with some, it's also on the slow side in terms of pacing, but I think those viewers who are already accustomed to the slower speed of storytelling in like 1970s European genre films, for them the nude vampire can be like a bottle of fine wine which is just waiting to be uncorked and enjoyed.